Okay, so today's lesson is division properties of exponents. So, we've learned multiplication properties of exponents, but this time we're going to learn division. So, the objectives today are to divide powers with the same base and to raise a quotient to a power. Now, notice what we've learned so far. If you have a base and they're both the same and you have a times sign in between them, you're going to add the exponents. Now, if you have it in parentheses, you're going to, an exponent to an exponent, you're going to multiply them. So this is multiplying, this is add, and today's math, you're going to do a mix of all of this together, some of you. So dividing powers with the same base for non-zeros. So, on this one, you have a to the s power over a to the t power. So, you're going to have the same base, a, and you're going to subtract the top exponent, which is s, minus the bottom exponent, which is t. And that's how you're going to do your math today. So, if I looked at it, and I did it the same way I have over here, I would have a cubed over a to the fifth. And so I would have a as my base, and then I subtract 3 minus 5, which is a to the negative 2 power. But, if I remember correctly, you cannot have a negative exponent. And I'm not sure if we have learned that yet for your class, but if you haven't, you need to take this top exponent and bring it down to the bottom, so it would be 1 over a squared. I think you've learned this already. Alright, so the other key concept we're learning today is raising a quotient to a power. So quotient is a fraction to you guys. And how we did this is we distributed when we had more than one number inside. When you had an exponent on the outside of a parentheses. So it's the same idea. So I'm going to take this t and I'm going to distribute it to all the numbers or variables inside of it. So I would have a to the t over r to the t. And that's how you will do it. Let's try some. Oh, we do have negative exponents. So we have worked with negatives before. So our base is a on example A. And you go 6 minus 14. A to the negative 8th power. Yep. And then you're like, it's a negative exponent, so put it over 1. And then bring it down. So what's on top? 1. And then you have a to the 8th. And there's your answer. Okay, B. This has two bases. You're going to start with C. And you take the top number, which is negative 1. And then subtract it from the bottom one number, which is 5. And then D, and the top number is 3 minus negative 4. Notice I have a negative, so we have to change that in a second. So, let's do that. Negative and a negative on this part is a positive. But on this part, I don't. I have C, negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. And D is 3 plus 4 now, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So it is going to be 7. And then I put it over 1. And then I have, that's a negative exponent, so you can't have it a negative, so I need to bring it down. So now it's going to be d to the 7th over c to the 6th. And there's your answer. I'd like you to try C on your own and see how you do, please put me on pause, do the work, and then when you're finished, check and see if you did it correctly. All right, so I gave you the negative version and I gave you the correct answer. So you can check and see what you did wrong if you did something wrong. All right, example 2, simplify each quotation. Write each answer in scientific notation form. So you'll need a calculator for this. So first of all, you're going to divide these two numbers. So take your calculator and you're going to go 3.7 divided by 2.814. And I would round it to the nearest tenth. So it's going to be 1.3 times 10. And you're going to subtract 7 minus 8. So it's 1.3 times 10 to 7 minus 8 is negative 1. And if it's in scientific notation form, which 1.3 is between 1 and 10, so it is in scientific notation form, and that's all you're going to do. So let's look at B. 2 divided by 8 is 0.25 times 10, and you subtract them. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Now, is this in scientific notation form? No, 0.25 is not between 1 and 10. So I'm going to move the decimal over, so it's going to be 2.5 times 10. And I subtracted 1 because I moved it from, made it smaller to bigger, so I'm subtracting, so it's going to be negative 6. Try C on your own. Please put me on pause and check it out and see if you did it correctly. Here's your answer. It's 3 times 10 to the 16th power.
Looks cool.
Okay, so for this part of the lesson, you're going to distribute the exponent to the top.
Oh, you play Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and Halo. It's like, no.
Oh my gosh, that's my brother though.
So the top, you're going to distribute the cube to the 4, so it's going to be 4 cubed. And then you distribute it to the bottom, which would be x to the 6th. Remember, you're multiplying your exponents. And then 4 cubed. So 4 cubed is 64, x to the 6th. And there's your answer. Okay, B. So again, you're going to distribute this squared to the 3, so it's going to be 3 squared. And the squared to the x, so it's going to be 5 times 2 is 10. And 3 squared is 9, x to the 10th. All right, so C is a little different. We have a 2, an x, and a y squared. So you're going to distribute it to all 3 of those. So the cube is going to go to the 2, so it's 2x, 2 cubed. Then you distribute it to the x, so that's x cubed, over y to the 6th. Now I have to find out what 2 cubed is. 2 cubed is 8, x cubed, y to the 6th. And there's your answer. Okay. A little different from example 3 is example 4. This time I have a negative exponent. So to make it a positive exponent, I'm going to do the reciprocal of what's inside of the fraction. So 3/5, the reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. And then it makes it a positive 2. Now you can distribute it. You can do 5 squared and 3 squared. 5 squared is 25 and 3 squared is 9. And leave it like this. Please do not turn it into a mixed number. B. Again, you have a negative 4 exponent, so I'm going to do the reciprocal, which is y over 2x. And then to the 4th power. Now distribute. So I have y to the 4th, 2 to the 4th, and x to the 4th. I'm going to bring it down to the bottom. I don't have enough room. 2 to the 4th is going to be 16, x to the 4th. Here's your answer. Again, I have a negative exponent, so I'm going to do the reciprocal, so it's m negative 7a to the second power. Distribute it. So it's going to be m squared, negative 7 squared, and a squared. So the top will be m squared. Negative 7 squared is 49, a squared. There you go. Goodbye.
Bye.